Before we use the CakePHP console bake command, we need to create another table in our database. I have already opened up phpMyAdmin in a browser window and have selected the catalog database. The new table we're going to create is the categories table. I have it all ready to go, a simple paste, and we're set. Our categories table will have 3 fields: ID, name, and length type. For this table, we have stayed true to the CakePHP naming conventions. I'm going to go ahead and click Go, and you'll notice our categories table has been added to our database. Now we can go ahead and bake our model, view, and controller. I'm going to go ahead and open up a terminal. I've already navigated into my catalog app console folder. If I do a list, you'll see the 3 files here. They're all in green, noting that they are executable. In order to make a file executable, you would do chmod, the plus, an X, and then the file name. Since my files are already executable, I can go ahead and type in /cake and bake. Here's the list of options. I'm going to go ahead and start with the model, so I can just type in M. It then asks which database configuration I would like to use, and then it says what it's going to use if I don't type in anything. I want the default database, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. Now it presents us with a list of models that it can create. It can either create the item model or the category model. Since we already have an item model and we don't have our category one set up yet, I'm going to go ahead and select 1. The next question is in regards to validation. Now typically we would go ahead and say yes, but I'm going to go over the validation later in this module by hand, so for now we're just going to go ahead and select no. The next question here is in regard to model association. Basically, this is asking if it's a one-to-many, many-to-many relationship. We will be changing this later in the module, but for now, we're going to go ahead and say no. It then presents us with what it's going to create. It's going to create a model named category, and it's telling us it's using the DB table of categories. It asks us if this looks okay, and it does. It has a default to yes, so I'm just going to go ahead and hit enter. It then prompts us about creating a test file. Since we don't have PHP unit installed and we're not covering testing in this course, we're going to go ahead and say no. We're now back to the main bake menu. Let's go ahead and switch over to NetBeans just to make sure that our model has been created. I already have NetBeans open and I've expanded the controller, model, and view folders. Inside the model, you'll notice we do have a new file named category. Let's go back over to our terminal. And we're going to go ahead and select controller this time. So C for controller, and it wants to know which database configuration we're going to use. We're going to stick with the default. It's now showing us a list of controllers that can be created from our current database. We're going to go ahead and select number 1 for our new categories table. The next question asks if we want to build our controller interactively, and we do. So go ahead and hit enter. It wants to know if we would like to use dynamic scaffolding. We don't, so I'm going to hit enter. This next question saves us a lot of time. It wants to know if we want to create the index, add, view, and edit actions. And we do, so we're going to go ahead and select yes. Now it asks us if we'd like to create the basic class methods for the admin routing. At this time we're going to say no, but I'm going to cover this in the authentication module later in this course. It now prompts us if we want to use helpers inside of our controller. You'll remember that we used a helper in the items controller called session. If we select no here, our next question will be prompted to ask us if we want to use the session setFlash method. I'm going to go ahead and select yes just to show you this process. Now it wants us to provide us a list of the helpers that we would like to use. We only want the session helper, so I'm just going to type in session. It now prompts us if we want to use any components with this. The answer is no. We're going to go ahead and hit enter. Here's the question I mentioned before about the session flash messages. I'm going to go ahead and say yes. Now it presents us with the information that we've entered. The helpers is going to be session and the controller name will be categories. Does it look okay? Yes. Go ahead and hit enter. It is now stated that it's made the controller, and it's also asking us about that PHP unit again. I'm going to go ahead and say no. And now we're back at the bake menu, so we can finish this out by creating our view. We're going to be using the same database configuration, so we'll go ahead and hit enter. And we're going to choose number 1 for our categories. And then it asks if we would like to build our views interactively, and we would. Go ahead and select yes. The next question asks if we would like to make the index, add view, and edit views for our actions in our controller. We're going to go ahead and hit enter. It now asks if we'd like to create the view for our admin routing, and we do not. We'll be covering the admin routing later in this course. Now we're back at the bake options. We're going to go ahead and type Q for quit and hit enter. You can go ahead and close out of your terminal. We're back here in our catalog project in NetBeans, and we're just going to go look at our controller folder. You'll see the new categories controller was created. If you go down to the view folder, you'll see a new folder has been created called categories, and inside there you'll see our 4 new views. Now to test this out, we're going to go to our website. I'll open up a new tab, catalog, and we're going to type in our new controller, which is categories, and hit enter. You'll notice our layout is a little bit different than our items view. These views were created based off of a template that's stored inside CakePHP's console application. Let's go ahead and navigate around our new categories section. I can click on new category, and I can type in a category name. This one's going to be called DVD, and we're going to have length type of minutes. I'm going to go ahead and submit. You'll see our new entry is listed here. Now we have a few options. We can view, edit, or delete, just like our items section. So we'll go ahead and view. And when we baked, it gave us links to all of the other pages, so we can go and actually create a new category right from here. Or we can go back and we can delete this particular category, or we can edit this category. We'll go ahead and edit it, submit. Now you'll see our list has been updated. I can also delete the item. It prompts me indicating that I'm going to be able to delete the item by clicking OK, or I can cancel. I'm going to click OK. And now we have nothing in our categories list. As you can see, we have the same functionality in our categories section as we do in our items section, and we didn't have to code anything in our categories section. That's the beauty of Bake.